On this episode of Hey Hey Linda Purrs, Linda interviews singer-songwriters, the Zach and Blu Band. Enjoy.
Welcome. I am so excited today. We have Zach and Blu Band here with us today, and they're from outside of Cookeville, came all the way to Nashville, and I'm just so excited to hear about the type of music that they play and get to know more about them, and you're going to really like them. So I just want to, so you're a duo, you're a Zach and Blu Band, and but you've just gotten together recently. So tell us how you guys got this going.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Well, about 6 months we've been playing together, but we've known each other for about 4 years. We met on our travels. We go to these little festivals and things. We had met through mutual friends. I went in like camping, basically out in the woods. But we both were with other people at the time, so we kind of went on our travels again. And then last year we met back up, and both of us were kind of in different places in our life, and we still kind of.
Then you put this video on Facebook.
Oh yeah, I put a video on Facebook. First I saw him playing, and I saw him playing. I heard him playing, and he says that I said, "You look sexy when you do that," but I don't believe that that's true. Yeah. I think I said, "You sounded great," is what I said.
But what he heard.
And then he ran away.
I don't know. He's kind of sexy.
Yeah, he can be. Well, wait until you hear play. Then he gets much more sexy.
Well, that's neat. It's kind of like you have a history together, but not.
Right, exactly.
But so it was like two strangers getting together. You knew each other's style of music or whatever. So what? Yeah.
She put out this video on Facebook, and I'd comment. I'm like, oh, I remember that girl. I'm like, oh, she said that's like pretty good. It was pretty raw, but it was pretty good, And I'm like, and then she got like text commented, and she said, yeah, come on down. And I'm like, all right, we'll see. And then I ended up,
about 6 months later,
I got a job up in New York State. I was doing construction, and she called me out of the blue one night from Asheville, North Carolina, and like just had a good talk to me and was like, hey, all right. Then we continued to talk for like a week. I said it was going to be a month, but she convinced me otherwise.
I'll come down for a month.
He said he'll come down in a month.
Yeah.
But he was there in a week. Yeah, so we need to do music together, because I was at a crossroads in my life, and he kind of was settling into work, and also listening to crossroads in his life. And we're like, let's just do music. And then it became a lot, more than music. And so that's how we started.
So now are you've kind of settled into a place, area. You were in a bus before?
Yeah,
busking around?
Yeah, I traveled the whole country in my school bus, all around from Florida to Oregon to New York and back, and settled in Tennessee. And he was...
I traveled by freight train, hitchhiking, any Greyhound bus, any way that I could get around. For like 5 years straight, I just was like, moving just because I couldn't stay in one place and not wanting anything or not wanting to be anything, and I was okay with that. And then I started working. I started getting a commercial fishing job, and I thought that was cool. And then I got like working with a contractor building stuff, and that was cool. But it was just none of it was. I'd only do that for a little while. It just wasn't fulfilling, and it took a little pushing and a little prodding to help me get. To realize like this is like the best thing that I can do, the best thing I'm good at.
Yeah, and it's kind of like do it now thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And now or never type thing.
Right.
So, but now each separately, what how did you get involved with music? And like you play the guitar? Do you play the guitar too?
I play enough to write songs.
Good. Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
But so let's start with you, Zach. What's your like background? What got you gravitating towards music in between all your odd jobs?
I've always played music my whole entire life. I got my first band when I was 11 years old called South 61. We played a bunch of kid gigs, and then we played a bigger show. We opened for this dude, country artist Brian White from the 90s. And that was pretty cool. But then that fizzled out, kids go separate ways. And I've always had bands coming up through high school and stuff like that, punk rock bands and whatever kind of phase I was into. but I always played music, and then I went to college, to Berkeley School of Music for 2 years, just like, you know, got what I
That must have
needed.
been a great experience.
Yeah.
Get some theory and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah, it was okay. Well, small town kid in a big city, though. What are you gonna do?
And what's your background with how you got involved
Well,
with music?
My grandparents both played. My grandfather was a really, really good guitar and mandolin player, and my grandmother sang opera. And so I don't really know if that's where it came from, but I've always sang. I remember getting a Casio for Christmas, like a piano.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to learn. I was probably about 5 or 6, and I had the light up keys.
Mhm.
So I started learning from that, and that's how I learned to play by ear, because I never was really good at school, and I don't know if I wasn't good at it, I just hated it. I couldn't sit still or anything. So that started getting me. My dad got a free piano then later on, and I started playing that. And then I kind of I left home really early. I was a wild, little crazy
Yeah.
man.
You gotta go.
I gotta go. And so music was just like always available. Like there was, people when you're out on the road so young, especially like traveling around, most people play music, and I just started being like really interested in the different things that people were playing. I was like, I want to do that, and writing poetry, and then I just started writing songs, and kind of just decided.
So is this your first time in the Nashville area now?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, for both of us.
Yeah, mine too. I've been all
That's
around the
good.
country,
Yeah.
but never been.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the place. I mean, I'm really happy to be here. The music scene, and it's not just country music here.
Right.
I mean, they have punk, they have rap, they
Mhm.
have it all here. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the little show I do in town, I have a girlfriend. My girlfriend that we were talking about that did that reverberation thing.
Yeah.
And anyway, she saw one of my flyers once. She goes, "Well, that's not country." I go, "Yeah, let's have a little bit of everything,
Right, right, yeah.
And I've actually brought some people together that were in different group, and they're blending together,
Yeah.
and I think it's a beautiful thing, I like different type. Of course, I love the country. I've learned so much about it, and now, what kind of genre are you guys playing together? What do you feel like your music is feeling like?
It's funny because we're like, we don't really. I guess obviously we always have a country base, like the base of our music, or the foundation of our music would probably be more country. But we're influenced by so many, especially like new artists like Sierra Farrell and things like that, or just bringing in like the bluegrass, and we really love the old country. Like we love, like just that old style and that old feel.
Hank
and
Williams, Loretta Lynn.
Yeah, the purity and the authenticity in music, like that's kind of what we're just gravitating towards naturally. Just finding that real bass line, and then just building our emotions on top of those bass lines, and whatever kind of tune comes out of that, it does. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's. Yeah.
But in a way, we're still kind of building, like our sound and how it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's developing more, like with each
Kinda neat to
different
watch.
musicians we're starting to play with.
Yeah.
We're getting like inspiration. We're like, oh, that sounds really cool. Like, what would you define this as? I mean, some of our songs, they say like bluegrass really doesn't have drums, but some of our songs we're incorporating drums, and we're like, oh, we love that. It sounds great. You know what I mean? So I don't really know what we would be defined as in a genre, but I would say, I guess
Americana,
Yeah.
based in country. Yeah, I knew that. I saw this bluegrass band once, and they had a clarinet.
Yeah.
I mean, who's to say you can't do that? But basically, yeah, no drums.
Right.
But so you got drums,
In some of our stuff, yeah, it's really cool.
So, well, that's neat. You're finding your sound, and that's what I didn't even know Americana music. I never heard of that term before till I came across that 89.5 WMOT radio. I was driving a long trip, and I go, what is this station? No commercials and all this music, and they kept calling Americana music. I go, what is that? I had never heard the term before.
Yeah.
I had heard indie, but not Americana.
Yeah, and indie too.
And Americana, when you think about it, we got the rhythm and blues. We got soul, man. We got jazz.
Yeah.
We got country, Hank Williams, And these are American. We got rock and roll. This is American sounds that
Right.
we've
Mhm.
developed, and they're all, you know, from the early settlers that came, and
Mhm.
the Scottish and the.
Yeah, and all
And,
that old music is so like
I know.
it's so beautiful.
I know. I learned on that station. I learned about Jimmy Rogers. I was listening to his songs. I go, I like these songs, and he was before Hank Williams, you know, and he yodels, you know, and you got to think, where did they get the yodeling? That's from people from Switzerland.
Right,
You know,
right,
the
right.
banjo was from Africa.
Right, right.
You know, the mandolin is like from Germany, and
Mhm.
you know, and then it all comes together. And then you have the soul, and you have the Fisk Jubilee singers that were slave singers, and right after the Civil War, and they sing. It was hidden music. They never sang to anybody, and they're preserved their music. You know, so we got such a strong mix of stuff here.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you guys are finding your music, and I've listened to a few of your songs, and I like the fact you like Hank Williams Sr.
Yeah.
That's a nice check, and so I'm really glad you're here today, and we're gonna hear a couple songs from them. They're gonna do for us here in just a second. So now, if people wanted to get hold of you, now you can do festivals or what? Where do you want to play? What do you want to do?
We want to do festivals.
Music festivals.
Yeah, so okay, that's all. I hit that right.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So how can people get hold of you? Where they can get hold of you?
Oh.
We have Instagram.
We do,
have
but it's Zach and Blu
TikTok.
Band, but it's spelled BLU.
BLU.
Yeah, Zach
Okay.
and Blu Band on Instagram, Zach and Blu Band on
Facebook.
Facebook. Also, yeah, I forgot we did have a Facebook for that, and TikTok as well.
And what?
TikTok.
Yeah.
A TikTok.
We do have. They're
Okay.
all Zach and Blu Band.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it's an ampersand though or not.
Okay.
I think it is. Yeah.
So that's the best way to contact you if they want you for a festival. So we're going to hear you here in just a second. I'm glad we're going to have these songs. So I want to thank everybody for listening to them, and you're going to hear more from them. It's kind of exciting. They're in this area. So thank you very much for
Thank you
coming.
so much for having
Thank
us.
you.
This has just been great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna do a little Loretta Lynn tune called "Woman Enough." You've come to tell me something you think I ought to know, that he don't love me anymore and I have to let him go. You say you're gonna take him, but I don't think you can, 'cause you ain't woman enough to take my man. Women like you are a dime a dozen, you can find him anywhere. For you to take him, I have to move over and I'm gonna stand right here. It'll be over my dead body, so get out while you can, 'cause you ain't woman enough to take my man. is a little song that we wrote. It's an original called "If I Ever Get Divorced," and it might be because I'm still legally married, but that's because divorce is very expensive. So country.
Yeehaw.
If I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him. If I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him. But if I don't, I just live in sin. But if I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him.
I've been moving from turn to turn. You've been standing in the same old pile. If I should think that you don't love me,
Then boy, you're in denial. As if I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him. If I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him. But if I don't, I just live in sin. If I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him. I can't say much for me now. He got me to say yes somehow. And now I'm thinking of it all. And I said, Lord, I was wrong. So if I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him. If I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him. But if I don't, I just live in sin. If I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him. Should have never said I do to that man, it wasn't true. So if you'll stay with me, baby, and love me through my crazy, you will see that if I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him. If I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him. But if I don't, I just live in sin. If I ever get divorced, I'm gonna marry him.
This episode of Hey Hey Linda Purrs is sponsored by. Come on down to Grandpa's Music at 1033 Park Street in Westmoreland. Live bluegrass, country, and gospel music every Saturday night. Shows start at 6 p.m. and admission is $8. First Fridays we feature karaoke and Grandpa's Music Jam Session 10 to 2 p.m. on the second and fourth Tuesday. New and seasoned musicians are always welcome for music lessons, so bring the whole family. Grandpa's Music at 1033 Park Street in Westmoreland.